ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೇ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಾನು ದೇವರಾಜ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ, ಜಲತಜ್ಞ, ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗದ ಜಿಯೋ ರೈನ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಮುಖ್ಯಸ್ಥ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಮಗೆ ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಶೇಷವಾದಂಥ ಒಬ್ಬರು ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಿಯನ್ನು ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಅವರ ಹೆಸರು ಚಂದ್ರಶೇಖರ್ ಬೀರಾದಾರ್ ಅಂತ. ಅವರು ಸುಮಾರು 50ಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸುತ್ತುವರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮೂಲದವರು, ಬಿಜಾಪುರ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯವರು. ಅಂದರೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಳೆ ಬರೋಂಥ ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿ ಬೆಳೆದು ಅವರು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ 100 ಮಿಲಿಮೀಟರ್ ಮಳೆ ಬರುವಂಥವರು, 200 ಮಿಲಿಮೀಟರ್ ಮಳೆ ಬರೋಂಥವರು, ಮತ್ತು 10,000 ಮಿಲಿಮೀಟರ್ ಮಳೆ ಬರೋಂಥ ಊರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಸುತ್ತುವರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಈ ಒಂದು ಕೃಷಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ನೀರಿನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಪರಿಸರದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಈ ಥರ ಸುಮಾರು 16 ಅಜೆಂಡಾಗಳಿದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಷಯಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಅವರ ಪರಿಚಯಗಳನ್ನು, ಅವರ ಅನುಭವಗಳನ್ನು ಹಂಚ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸಂದರ್ಭ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಚಂದ್ರಶೇಖರ್ ಸರ್, ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನೀವು ಫಸ್ಟು ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಸಂತೋಷ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅನುಭವಗಳನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ವೀಕ್ಷಕರು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಲಕ್ಷಾಂತರ ಮಂದಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
ನಮಗೆ ಮೊದಲು ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗಕ್ಕೆ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಬಂದಿದ್ದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜಿಯೋ ರೈನ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಹಾರ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗು. ನಾನು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ. ಸೊ ಭೂಮಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡ್ರೈ ಇರೋಳಗೂ ರೈನ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಅಂದಾಗ ಅವಾಗಿಂದರು ಅವರು ಶಿವನಜೆ ಬಾಳಕೆ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ 10ನೇ ಗೆಳೆಯರಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸೊ ಅವರು ತುಂಬ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯಿತು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಒಳಗೆ ನೋಡಿದೆ, ನೀವು ತುಂಬ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಿ. ಅಯ್ಯೋ, ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಂತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಏನೋ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆ ಹುಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ತುಪ್ಪಕ್ಕೆ ಹುಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ ಆ ಥರ ಅನಿಸ್ತು ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ನಿನ್ನೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ತುಂಬ ನೋಡಿದೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮದು ತುಂಬ ಕೆಲಸ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನ್ಸಿನ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ ರೀಚ್ ಟು ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್.
ಸರ್, ಈಗ ನೀವು ಈಗ ಸೆಟ್ಲ್ ಆಗಿರೋದು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಆಫೀಸ್?
ನಾನು ಇರೋದು ಈಜಿಪ್ಟ್ ಒಳಗೆ. ಸೊ ದ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಇನ್ ಡ್ರೈ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಈಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ CGR ಸೆಂಟರ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಡ್ರೈ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಕವರಿಂಗ್ ನಿಯರ್ಲಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ 41% ಆಫ್ ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ the land mass.
Okay.
So that water scarcity is one of the become very important aspect, especially you are working in the dry areas. The water become everything. Like, but in the past, when you look back historically, go back to about hundreds of years ago, and that was not a big crisis. But why it's became a crisis? Because of the number of reasons, like whether it's population, you can take it, or more importantly, the land management. Right, so that we are not looking at the return, just taking everything from the land, so that our soil degradation has become one of the key factor, and we're losing the organic soil, the content, and the return of the biomass is not happening because everything we're taking out of the soil. So that leads to the lot of the soil erosion, wind erosions. That aspect is taking place. Along with that, lot of the chemicals you're using in the production oriented. Because when it comes to agriculture, we're looking only yield. So yield is our top priority. But we're not looking at nutrition or ecological sustainability. So that's what we thought that we need to go back. We are enough food to feed the world, but not enough nutritious food to feed the world. So that how we can bring that. So then we look into very deep into all the science. We found that the ecosystem restorations, what we call it as how the living soil became a priority. So this is where we started looking into all the aspects. Then how we can bring the awareness among the people. Like people think that like if someone sitting next to the irrigation canal in the Nile, they think that our farmer, the water scarcity, climate change happening, and water is depleting. No, I have enough water there because they're sitting next to the canal. But they're not a picture of the big picture. What is happening in the tail end. So this is where we started awareness among the different people, like even policymakers, rich people also sitting in the comfort zone, right? So they not see that where the water is coming, how it's coming. So this is where we started. We need to bring this awareness from the children to the policymaker in all ages and all the classes. Doesn't matter whether poor, rich, whether officer, whether doctors, whether farmers. Everyone have to act together. This is what we call a restoration is a mandate for everyone who drink water, everyone who breathe oxygen, everyone eat food. It's a mandate.
ಈಗ ನೀವು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ದೇಶಗಳನ್ನ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಟೈಮ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಲೆಸ್ ರೈನ್ಫಾಲ್ ಇದೆ. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಜಾಪುರ್ 450 mm, ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗ 500 mm, ಕೊಪ್ಪಳ, ಬಳ್ಳಾರಿ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಬೆಳೆದಿದೆ. ನೀವು ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಳೆ ಬರೋಂಥ ಟೈಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಟಾಡ್ತೀವಿ 100-200 mm ರೈನ್ಫಾಲ್. ಹೌದು. ನಿಮಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡುವಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆ?
ಅದು ನಿಜವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಂತಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಈಗ ಇದೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಈಗ ರಜೆಗೆ ಬಂದೆ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ 100 to 200 and 300 millimeter rainfall. That's what you call a deserted, the dryland agro ecosystems, what you call our desert potential areas. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದಾಗೆ ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇವನ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ವೆಜಿಟೇಷನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್. ಇಫ್ ದ ಮಾಪ್ ಲೈಕ್ oasis the environment, still the different layer of the vegetation working, it's working very nicely. But when it ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ then I saw it's like 500 millimeter rainfall. I thought it's a heaven. When 2 to 300 meter rainfall you can survive, you can grow something. Why can't you do in the double of that rainfall? Despite of having the fertile soil and dry area is very high nutrition in the soil. I thought this something is missing. Then whenever I call to my friends like in Bilab, even my father and pa malinaagilla bargalla ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. But annual rainfall ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ it's there. 500 meters is there. Its amount of rainfall is there, but only I think
distribution pattern is
distribution one thing. Secondly, holding. So whatever rain comes there, how to hold in the soil.
due to climate change rainfall pattern also.
It is the total, that's when I look into upon people think that it's because of climate change rainfall reducing, but it's not true. The amount of rainfall, it's constant. You look at the entire India total rainfall, it is not decreased. Even some instances it's increased in the dry areas. But only thing is what's happened in now, because we lost most of the vegetation cover. Now booming ella bettal ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. So there is no vegetation cover. Because of there is no vegetation cover, there is no leaf litter falling on the soil, and all the water just surface enough. ಎಲ್ಲ ಹರಿದು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. So this is where we find that rainwater harvesting in a natural way, in ecosystem, how the forest does. Can you replicate the same into agricultural landscape? So that's where I found that it has a huge potential. When 100 to 200 centimeter rainfall areas can sustain, why can't we?
ಈಗ 100 to 200 mm rainfall ಇದೆ. Actually ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕೇಸ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ which country.
I give the example of the one is very interesting case study in Egypt. It's called Sikkim anta. Sikkim, that's one of the industrialist and he's a pharmacist, like Abu Saleh, and he came to Egypt and saw that most people they are like no sustainability. 40 years ago he thought about organic agriculture, something like that. ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮರುಭೂಮಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಮಳೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಆ ಭೂಮಿನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೌ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಂಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಎಕರೆಗೆ 10 tons ಕಂಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕಿ ದೆನ್ ದ ಡ್ರಿಪ್ ಇರಿಗೇಷನಿಂದ ದೆನ್ ದ ಕವರ್ ದ greenness, that one. I thought that when you do so much of little water, you can do so much of that. So when you look into that amount of the water they are adding to the soil, it is less than 100 millimeter rainfall area. Right? The total amount of the adding to the soil in terms of the drip irrigation, it is about 100 to 120 millimeter rainfall. Then I thought, so we are living in the heaven when it comes to my North Karnataka. So that when I take the Gulbarga, Bijapur, Raichur and Koppala, all the thing, I think still we have around average rainfall of 500 to 600 millimeter. I think that's plenty we can do if you adopt a proper land management practices along with the tree-based agriculture and cow-based agriculture. Basically, return of the investment means whatever taken from the soil, you put it back. That's one of the concepts. So when I see the rivers, especially in ನಮ್ಮ ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಎಲ್ಲ ನದಿಗಳು ಈಗ ಫ್ಲಡ್ ಒಳಗೆ you can see a lot of that. All water muddy water, right? Amount of the sediments is eroded from the field. That shows that we not have any vegetation. My dream is to looking at this one. When we see the stream water is very clean, crystal clean, river flowing as a clean water without sedimentation, I think that is the stage we reach the sustainable land management practices. In order to do that one, we have to adopt number of the practices, whether the soil conservation and vegetation cover, cropping pattern, cropping system pattern, and that also linked to our diets, how we are eating. So we can do the local food and how we can contribute to the carbon footprint. I think if you look into all this as an inclusive system, I think it's doable.
ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಈಗ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಪದ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ, ಟೋಟಲ್ 41 ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲಲ್ಲಿ 41 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ?
41.5% of the.
Is it every year that increasing the?
Yeah, that is the.
What is the percentage of?
I think when I did about 2000 to 2020 the assessment, there's nearly about 2.5% of the dry area is increased. And also the different level. Like even some areas, like for example France or in Europe or some African countries like Amazon or like a tropical rainforest area, I see there is a dryness is increasing. That shows that clearly it is a land management practices. You are basically not managing properly. I think that's going to be if no action, that may exert even further. That's why the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment clearly showing that like the dry area become drier, wet area become wetter because of wherever the dry areas because surface albedo, we are not able to bring the rain. That rain had to go somewhere. So where the more wetter means the more vegetated areas, so that distribution pattern go there. completely, so that they become more wetter. But if you reduce the sulfurous albedo by covering the green cover, like a mulch or the forest or trees or something like that, we need to move away from seasonal agriculture to permanent agriculture. Means something growing all the times in the land, so that then the water going to only one place is creating the flood. Now they distribute, so that flood and drought they can balancing act. So I think that's where we should be heading towards that.
ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟು ಡ್ರೈ ಏರಿಯಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಎನಿ ಸರ್ವೆ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್
So India, I not look into that one. Of course, I can if I dig out for the
ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಟು
country
ಅದರ್
level.
ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್?
India still like quite a bit of the areas that falls into dry areas. Even because of in the Ganges Indo-Gangetic plains, we consider as a dry areas because of the irrigation water coming from the Ganges and snow melted water. Everyone irrigating looks like green, but it's by in biophysical condition, it's all the entire is dry areas. Nearly about the 1/3 of the area in India that falls under the dry areas.
ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಒಂದು ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಪರ್ ಒಂದು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಜಸ್ಥಾನ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಇಸ್ ಡ್ರೈ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್.
Yeah,
ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ನಾವು.
that's true.
ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಈವನ್ ಮಲ್ನಾಡ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಎವ್ರಿ ಇಯರ್ ದ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಉಂಟು, ಡ್ರೈ ಏರಿಯಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಈವನ್ ಎವ್ರಿವೇರ್ ಇದು ಎವ್ರಿ ಇಯರ್ ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟೇಜ್ ಕೂಡ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ.
Yeah, if you look at the dryland, arable dryland agriculture area, I think the Karnataka is the highest. If you look at the total agriculture arable land area under the rainfall conditions,
Yeah.
this is very quite largest areas. But when looking at the rainfall pattern, I think we can be turn them into the green lands without any questions. But only need a collective actions. It's not just only the government or only the Devraj is doing his work, but you have to everyone act in that way.
ಓಕೆ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ವೀಕ್ಷಕರು ಹಂಚ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ಮಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಯುವಂಥ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ನಮ್ಮ ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ಜನಗಳ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಹಿತಿನ ಹಂಚ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದು ತಮಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಸರ್.
ತುಂಬ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಸರ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.